Hello, dear witches and wizards. Welcome back for another evening of magical adventures and shared stories. Tonight, I'll be taking you through something rather special, a day that begins ordinarily enough, but transforms into something extraordinary. You'll attend your Defense Against the Dark Arts class, discover a mysterious invitation, and find yourself standing at the threshold of a secret that's been kept within Hogwarts' ancient walls for nearly a century. So settle in somewhere comfortable, perhaps with a warm mug of tea or cocoa close at hand. Let the weight of the day slip away and allow yourself to step into this world where magic hums just beneath the surface of every stone, every whispered word, every flicker of candlelight. Take a deep breath, and when you're ready, we'll begin. The afternoon sunlight filters through the tall windows of the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, casting long golden rectangles across the stone floor. Dust motes drift lazily through the beams, catching the light like tiny falling stars, and the whole room seems to glow with that particular warmth that only comes on late autumn days when the sun hangs low and amber in the sky. You're seated near the middle of the classroom, your textbook open in front of you, though you've been finding it difficult to concentrate on the words printed there. The chapter is about shield charms, variations, and applications, but your attention keeps wandering to the window, to the way the trees outside are losing their leaves in slow, spiraling dances toward the ground. Professor Rainwood stands at the front of the room, her robes a deep forest green that complements the silver streaks running through her dark hair. She moves with the easy confidence of someone who has spent years mastering her craft. And there's something reassuring about the way she commands the space without ever raising her voice. The scars on her hands catch the light as she gestures, thin white lines that speak of old duels and hard-won experience. She's explaining the finer points of the Protego charm, how the strength of your intent matters just as much as the precision of your wand movement, and you find yourself leaning forward slightly, drawn in by the quiet authority in her voice. "Pair up," Professor Rainwood says, her tone warm but firm. "We'll be practicing the combination work we discussed last week. Shield charms followed immediately by a disarming spell. The timing is crucial, remember. Too slow, and your opponent recovers. Too fast, and your shield weakens before you're ready to cast again." The classroom fills with the sound of chairs scraping against stone as students stand and begin to move toward each other. You glance around, catching sight of your best friend Jasper across the room. He's already being claimed by another Ravenclaw student, a girl with braided hair who seems far too eager to practice. Jasper catches your eye and gives you an apologetic shrug, his round wire frame, glasses slipping slightly down his nose in that endearing way they always do. You smile back, letting him know it's fine, and turn to find yourself face to face with a fifth-year Slytherin boy whose name you think might be Gideon, or maybe Jeffrey. He's tall, with the kind of casual confidence that comes from never having been told he might be wrong about anything. "Right then," he says, spinning his wand between his fingers in a show of practiced ease. "Try to keep up, yeah?" There's no malice in his tone, exactly, but there's certainly a presumption there, an assumption that this will be easy for him and perhaps a bit of a struggle for you. You feel a small flicker of something in your chest, not quite annoyance, but something close to it, a quiet determination to prove that assumption wrong. You nod, taking your position at one end of the cleared practice space, while he takes the other. Around you, other pairs are already beginning, and the classroom fills with the sounds of incantations and the bright flashes of spellwork. Professor Rainwood walks between the pairs, observing, offering quiet corrections and words of encouragement. You can feel her presence even when she's not directly watching you, that sense of being in the presence of someone who sees more than most people do, who notices the small details that others might miss. "Ready?" the Slytherin boy asks, and before you can fully respond, he's already moving, his wand slicing through the air. Stupefy, the spell comes at you in a flash of red light, and your body reacts before your mind fully catches up. Protego, the word tears from your throat, and your wand traces the familiar pattern you've practiced countless times in your dormitory, in empty classrooms, in the quiet hours when everyone else is asleep. The shield erupts in front of you, a shimmering barrier of silver blue light that catches the stunning spell and deflects it harmlessly to the side. But you don't stop there. Something in you, some instinct you didn't know you possessed, pushes you forward. The shield is still shimmering in the air, still solid, when you feel the next spell forming in your mind, ready and waiting. Your wand arm moves in one fluid motion, the shield dissolving at precisely the moment you need it to, your voice clear and steady as you cast. Expelliarmus! The disarming spell shoots from your wand in a brilliant streak of scarlet, and the timing is perfect, so perfect that you feel it in your bones, in the way the magic flows through you, like water finding its natural course. The spell strikes the Slytherin boy's wand before he can even think to defend himself, and you watch as it flies from his hand in a graceful arc, spinning through the air before clattering to the stone floor several feet away. For a moment, the entire classroom goes quiet. The other students have stopped their practice, turning to look at what just happened. You can feel their eyes on you, can hear the sudden absence of sound. Where moments before there had been the constant hum of spellcasting and movement. Your heart is pounding in your chest, adrenaline making your fingers tingle, and you're not entirely sure what just happened or how you managed to execute that combination with such precision. Professor Rainwood has stopped walking. She's standing perfectly still, her dark eyes fixed on you with an expression you can't quite read. Then slowly, a smile spreads across her face, transforming her usually stern features into something warmer, something almost proud. "Excellent work," she says, and her voice carries clearly through the silent classroom. That was new T-level timing. The shield held exactly as long as it needed to, and the transition to the offensive spell was seamless. Well done. You feel heat rising in your cheeks, a mixture of embarrassment and pleasure at the praise. You're not used to being the center of attention like this, not used to having everyone's eyes on you with that particular mixture of surprise and interest. The Slytherin boy retrieves his wand from the floor, and when he straightens up, there's a grudging respect in his expression that wasn't there before. "That was brilliant," he admits, tucking his wand away. "Didn't see it coming at all." As the class resumes their practice, you become aware of someone watching you with particular intensity. You glance to your right and see a 6th-year Slytherin girl standing near the back of the classroom. She's tall and composed, with sharp features and an athletic build that speaks of hours spent in physical training. Her dark hair is pulled back from her face, and there's a silver ring on her wand hand that catches the light as she makes a small notation in what appears to be a leather-bound notebook. She meets your gaze for just a moment, her expression unreadable, before returning her attention to her notes. Something about that look makes you feel exposed, as though she's seen something in you that you haven't fully seen yourself yet. You turn back to your practice partner, trying to shake off the strange feeling, but it lingers at the edge of your awareness like the afterimage of bright light. The rest of the class passes in a blur of practice and repetition, but you can't quite recapture that perfect moment of execution. Your timing is off by fractions of seconds. Your shields wobble slightly before solidifying, and by the time Professor Rainwood calls an end to the lesson, you're feeling the familiar weight of self-doubt settling over your shoulders. Maybe it was just luck, you think. Maybe it was a fluke, one perfect moment that you'll never be able to recreate. As students begin gathering their things and filing toward the door, you pack up your textbook and parchment, tucking them carefully into your bag. Jasper appears at your elbow, his eyes bright with excitement behind his glasses. "That was brilliant," he says, his voice slightly too loud in his enthusiasm. "When did you learn that combination? I've been reading about advanced dueling techniques, and that kind of seamless transition usually takes months to master. The way you held the shield just long enough, but not too long, and then the immediate follow-through with the disarming spell. I mean, that's the kind of thing you see in professional dueling matches, not in fourth-year defense against the dark arts classes." You shrug, slinging your bag over your shoulder as you head toward the door. "Just felt right in the moment, I suppose. I wasn't really thinking about it." "That's the mark of real talent, though, isn't it?" Jasper says, falling into step beside you as you enter the corridor. "When something complex becomes instinctive. My dad always says that true mastery is when you stop having to think about the mechanics and just let the magic flow through you naturally. Not that I'd know anything about that with dueling. I'm absolutely rubbish at practical spell work. Give me a theoretical problem any day, but put me in front of an opponent and I freeze up completely." You smile at his familiar self-deprecation. Jasper has always been this way, brilliant and anxious in equal measure, more comfortable with books and theories than with the messy unpredictability of actual spellcasting. But he's loyal to his core, the kind of friend who will follow you into situations he finds terrifying, simply because you're going and he won't let you go alone. The castle corridors are busy with students moving between classes, and you let yourself be carried along by the flow of traffic toward the Great Hall. The stone walls are cool despite the afternoon sunlight streaming through the high windows, and the familiar sounds of Hogwarts surround you like a comforting blanket. Distant laughter, the flutter of robes, footsteps echoing on ancient floors, the occasional hoot of an owl, and somewhere far away, the faint sound of someone practicing scales on what might be a flute or possibly a very determined kazoo. By the time you reach the Great Hall for dinner, the sky visible through the enchanted ceiling has deepened to a rich purple blue, the first stars beginning to prick through like tiny diamonds scattered across velvet. The 4 long house tables are filling up with students, and the air is rich with the mingled scents of roasted meat, fresh bread, pumpkin juice, and something sweet and cinnamon-scented that you can't quite identify but makes your mouth water. You take your usual seat at the Gryffindor table, with Jasper sliding in across from you despite being a Ravenclaw. The house boundaries tend to blur a bit during meals, especially for students who've been friends long enough that sitting together is simply habit. You're reaching for a bowl of mashed potatoes when there's a rush of wings overhead, and you look up to see your tawny owl copper swooping down toward you, his wings spread wide as he glides between the floating candles. He lands on the table beside your plate with more grace than you'd expect from a bird carrying something in his talons, and you see that there's a letter tied to his leg with a black ribbon. The envelope is made of expensive parchment, heavy and cream-colored, and it's sealed with black wax, though there's no house crest or identifying mark pressed into the seal. "What's that?" Jasper asks, leaning forward with immediate curiosity as you untie the ribbon and take the letter. Copper hoots softly, nudging your hand with his beak in his usual demand for treats, and you absently feed him a bit of toast crust while examining the envelope. Your name is written across the front in elegant handwriting, the kind of careful calligraphy that speaks of someone who learned to write with a quill before they ever held a ballpoint pen. You break the seal and unfold the letter, your eyes scanning the short message written inside. Your skills have been observed. You are invited to prove yourself. Tonight, 11 o'clock, 7th floor, West Wing, tapestry of the dancing trolls. Come alone. Bring your wand. The circle. That's all it says. No explanation. No signature beyond those 2 words at the end. The circle. You read it twice, then a 3rd time, as though repetition might reveal some hidden meaning you missed the first time through. Jasper has craned his neck to read over the edge of the letter, and his expression shifts from curiosity to concern in the span of a heartbeat. "That's ominous," he says, pushing his glasses up his nose in that nervous gesture he's had since first year. "Come alone? That sounds distinctly like the sort of thing that ends with you being cursed, or worse. Who even sent it? What's the circle?" You turn the envelope over, looking for any other clues, but there's nothing. Just your name on the front and that mysterious message inside. Or, an adventure, you say, feeling a flutter of excitement in your chest that competes with the more sensible voice telling you this could be dangerous. "Those aren't mutually exclusive," Jasper protests, his voice rising slightly before he catches himself and lowers it to a hiss. Adventures and traps can be the same thing. In fact, I'd argue that most adventures are just traps you walk into voluntarily because they sound exciting. You're about to respond when you notice that several other students are watching you with barely concealed interest. A few seats down, a group of 7th years are whispering among themselves, and one of them, a Hufflepuff boy with warm brown skin and a head boy badge pinned to his robes, is wearing an expression that's almost amused, as though he's watching a play he's seen before and knows how it ends. Further down the table, you catch sight of that same Slytherin girl from Defense Against the Dark Arts class, the one who was taking notes. She's not looking at you directly, but there's something about the set of her shoulders that suggests awareness, as though she knows exactly what's happening without needing to turn her head. "We need to research this," Jasper says firmly, already standing up from the table, despite having barely touched his dinner. "Come on, the library stays open until 10. If we hurry, we'll have time to search through some historical records before you have to decide whether you're actually going through with this madness." You fold the letter carefully and tuck it into your pocket, feeling the weight of it there like a promise or perhaps a challenge. Part of you knows Jasper is right to be cautious, that mysterious letters and secret meetings could mean anything from a harmless student club to something far more dangerous. But another part of you, the part that sorted you into Gryffindor in the first place, is already imagining what might be waiting behind that tapestry of dancing trolls, what mysteries might unfold if you're brave enough to show up. The library is quiet when you arrive, the vast space filled with the particular hush that comes from thousands of books absorbing sound. The smell of old parchment and leather bindings wraps around you like familiar arms, and you follow Jasper past rows of towering shelves, toward the section where the historical records are kept. Madame Pince, the librarian, watches your progress with her usual hawkish intensity, but she doesn't stop you, merely returns her attention to whatever she was cataloging at her desk. Jasper moves with purpose, clearly having already formed a research plan in his mind. He pulls books from shelves with the confidence of someone who knows exactly where everything is, which of course he does. Having spent more time in this library than probably anyone else in your year, you help him carry the stack to a table near one of the high windows, where the last of the evening light is fading into deep blue twilight. "Right," Jasper says, opening the first book and already scanning the index with practiced efficiency. If there's a secret organization called the Circle operating at Hogwarts, there has to be some record of it somewhere. Secret societies might be secret, but they always leave traces. People write things down, even when they're not supposed to. You open another book, this one a history of Hogwarts during the 1920s, and begin flipping through pages filled with photographs of students in old-fashioned robes, their faces frozen in time, some of them waving at the camera or making silly expressions that transcend decades. The text is dense and occasionally boring, full of details about curriculum changes and headmaster appointments, but you persist, scanning for anything that might be relevant. It's Jasper who finds it first. He makes a small sound of triumph that earns him a sharp look from Madame Pince, then pushes a newspaper clipping across the table toward you. It's yellowed with age, the text slightly faded, but still readable. The headline reads, "Secret Student Dueling Society Discovered at Hogwarts." Your eyes widen as you read the article, which details how a group of students in 1927 were found practicing advanced combat magic in an abandoned classroom. The society, which called itself the Circle, had apparently been meeting for several years before being discovered by a professor during a late-night patrol. The article describes confiscated training materials, advanced spell diagrams, and mentions that several of the students involved went on to become Aurors, or fought in various conflicts over the following decades. "That was almost a century ago," you say, looking up from the clipping to meet Jasper's eyes. "They were shut down by the headmaster." "Yes, but what if someone started it up again?" Jasper says, already pulling another book toward him, this one containing what appear to be old-school records. "Think about it. Someone saw you in Defense Against the Dark Arts class today, saw that you have talent for dueling, and decided you'd be a good candidate for membership. It makes sense. You help him search through more records, finding scattered mentions of the Circle in various documents. A disciplinary report from 1925. A reference in someone's diary from 1928. A footnote in a book about the history of defensive magic at Hogwarts. The pattern that emerges is clear. The Circle was a student organization dedicated to practicing advanced dueling techniques, operating in secret because their methods went beyond what was taught in standard classes. They were serious about their craft, respected within certain circles, and ultimately shut down when the authorities felt they were becoming too organized, too skilled, too much like a private army. "And you want to go," Jasper says, not making it a question, because he knows you well enough to recognize the gleam in your eye. "Don't you?" you counter, closing the book in front of you and leaning back in your chair. "When will we get another chance like this? To learn from older students, to practice magic that's actually challenging? The stuff we do in class is important, but it's basic. This could be something more." "It could also be dangerous," Jasper points out, but his tone has shifted from flat opposition to reluctant consideration. Advanced combat magic means there's a chance someone could get hurt. That's why we have shields, you say, trying for levity. And besides, if it was really dangerous, they wouldn't be recruiting fourth years, would they? They'd want people who already know what they're doing. Jasper sighs, removing his glasses to rub at his eyes in that gesture that means he's tired and stressed, but also giving in. I'm absolutely not letting you go alone, he says finally. So, I suppose I'm coming with you, because someone needs to make sure you don't get cursed into next week. You feel a surge of affection for your friend, for his loyalty, even in the face of his own fear. Thank you, you say quietly, meaning it more than you can fully express. Don't thank me yet, Jasper mutters, replacing his glasses. Ask me again, after we've survived whatever fresh madness you're dragging us into. The hours between dinner and 11 o'clock seem to pass both too quickly and too slowly. You return to Gryffindor Tower, trying to act normal, trying not to think too much about what might be waiting for you later. The common room is warm and crowded, students sprawled on sofas and chairs, playing wizard's chess, or working on homework, or simply talking in that comfortable way that comes from living in close quarters with the same people for months on end. You attempt to focus on a transfiguration essay that's due next week, but the words keep blurring on the page, your mind wandering to that letter in your pocket, to the invitation and the challenge it represents. Your housemates filter away gradually as the evening deepens, heading up to their dormitories in pairs and groups, calling out goodnight to each other until finally the common room is nearly empty. At 11:15, you slip out through the portrait hole, whispering the password to the fat lady, who grumbles at you about the late hour, but swings forward nonetheless. The corridors are dark and silent, lit only by the occasional torch set in iron brackets along the walls. The castle feels different at night, older and more mysterious, as though the stones themselves remember things that happen in darkness, things that the daylight washes away. You meet Jasper at the predetermined spot, a junction of corridors where the light from two torches creates a small pool of visibility in the surrounding gloom. He's wearing his school robes over pajamas, and his hair is even more disheveled than usual, sticking up in the back where he's clearly been running his hands through it nervously. "This is mad," he says by way of greeting. "You know that, right? This is completely mad." "Completely," you agree, but you're smiling as you say it, and after a moment, Jasper smiles too. A small, anxious smile that acknowledges the madness but accepts it anyway. The journey to the 7th floor is tense with anticipation. Every shadow seems to move with potential threat. Every distant sound makes you both freeze and hold your breath until you can identify its source. You pass the entrance to Ravenclaw Tower, climb a narrow spiral staircase, navigate through a corridor where the portraits are all asleep and snoring in their frames, creating a peculiar symphony of whistles and grunts that would be funny if your heart wasn't beating quite so hard in your chest. Finally, you reach the west wing of the 7th floor. The tapestry of the dancing trolls hangs exactly where the letter said it would be, an enormous and frankly hideous piece of medieval art, depicting a group of trolls in various states of what might be dancing or might be epileptic seizures. It's honestly hard to tell. The colors have faded over the centuries, leaving the trolls looking more gray than green, and there's something unsettling about their frozen expressions, caught perpetually mid-cavort. "Now what?" you whisper, examining the wall near the tapestry. There's no obvious door, no handle or keyhole, or any indication that this is anything other than a solid stone wall covered by an ancient piece of decorative fabric. Jasper is already crouching down, running his hand along the floor near the base of the wall. "Look," he says, pointing to faint marks on the stone. "Scuff marks, see? Like something heavy has been moved across here repeatedly. A door opening, maybe?" You try the obvious first. Pointing your wand at the wall, you whisper, "Alohomora," but nothing happens. The stone remains stubbornly solid, unresponsive to your unlocking charm. "Well, that was worth a shot," Jasper mutters, standing back up and brushing dust from his knees. "You need the password," a voice says from behind you, and both you and Jasper jump, spinning around with wands raised, your hearts suddenly hammering against your ribs. The Hufflepuff boy from dinner is standing there, the one with the head boy badge, his hands raised in a gesture of peace and a warm smile on his face. He's tall and stocky, with kind eyes that crinkle at the corners when he smiles, and there's something immediately trustworthy about him, despite having just scared you both half to death. "Sorry," he says, lowering his hands. "Didn't mean to startle you. You're the 4th year from the defense demonstration today, right? Impressive work. Right on time, too. I like punctuality." "You're involved in this?" Jasper asks, his voice slightly higher than usual with residual adrenaline. "I run it," the boy says, extending his hand. "Marcus Finch, Hufflepuff, 7th year, and founder of the current iteration of the Circle. Well, refounder, technically. The original Circle was disbanded in 1928, but I found their records and thought it was too good of a tradition to let die." You shake his hand, feeling the firm grip of someone confident in their place in the world. "The letter said to come alone," you point out. Marcus glances at Jasper with an appraising look, then shrugs. "Most people ignore that part anyway. Half the members brought a friend to their first meeting. Shows good judgment, actually. Going alone into an unknown situation is brave, but bringing backup is smart. We value both here." He turns to face the wall, pulling out his wand in a casual gesture that speaks of repetition, of this being routine. "The password is Fortis Animus," he says clearly, and as the words leave his mouth, the air in front of the wall begins to shimmer like heat rising from summer pavement. You watch in fascination as a door materializes out of nothing, its outline becoming visible first as a faint line of light, then solidifying into actual wood and iron, a heavy medieval door with black hinges and a round iron handle. The transformation is seamless, so smooth that if you'd blinked, you might have missed the transition entirely. "It means brave spirit," Marcus says, reaching for the handle. "Seemed appropriate. Come on then, let's not keep everyone waiting." He pulls the door open, and warm light spills out into the corridor, along with the sound of multiple voices talking in low, excited tones. Marcus gestures for you to enter first, and after exchanging one more glance with Jasper, a look that communicates both nervousness and determination, you step through the doorway. The room beyond is larger than you expected, a classroom that must have been abandoned years ago, but has been repurposed with obvious care. The desks and chairs have been pushed back against the walls, creating a large open space in the center. Floating candles provide warm, steady light, and banners from all 4 houses hang together on the walls in a display of inter-house unity you rarely see so deliberately arranged. There are about 20 students scattered around the room, representing all years from 4th through 7th, all houses mixed together in a way that feels both unusual and natural. As you enter, every head turns toward you and Jasper. The conversations die down, and you feel the weight of multiple gazes assessing you, measuring you, trying to determine if you're worthy of being here. Your hand instinctively tightens around your wand, not in threat, but in comfort, the familiar wood grounding you in the face of so much attention. Standing in the center of the clear dueling space is the Slytherin girl from your Defense Against the Dark Arts class. She's even taller than you realized, with an athletic build that speaks of someone who takes physical training seriously. Her arms are crossed, her posture relaxed but alert, and there's something in her expression that makes you think of a cat watching a mouse. Not aggressive, but certainly interested. Marcus moves to the center of the room, his presence commanding attention without any apparent effort. "Everyone," he says, his voice carrying clearly, "this is our newest candidate." He gestures toward you, and you feel the weight of all those eyes intensify. They demonstrated impressive skill in Defense Against the Dark Arts today, and I believe they have the potential to be a valuable addition to the circle. "Welcome," says the tall Slytherin girl, stepping forward. "I'm Astrid Blackthorn, 6th year, current champion of the circle. I was the one who observed you in class today and suggested you be invited." Her voice is confident, carrying that particular quality of someone accustomed to being listened to. But there's no arrogance in it, just a simple statement of fact. She looks at you with dark eyes that seem to see more than you're comfortable with, and you have the distinct impression that she's already cataloged your strengths and weaknesses, already formed a complete picture of what you're capable of. "Thank you," you manage, your own voice sounding smaller than you'd like in this room full of older, more experienced students. Marcus begins explaining, moving to stand beside Astrid in the center of the room. The Circle is a student organization dedicated to the study and practice of advanced defensive magic and dueling techniques. We believe that the standard curriculum, while solid, doesn't push students far enough in developing real combat skills. So we meet here twice a month to practice, to learn from each other, to test ourselves against opponents who challenge us to improve. A Ravenclaw girl with long silver blonde hair braided down her back speaks up from where she's sitting on one of the pushed-back desks. "We study historical dueling styles," she says, her voice quiet but clear. "Research techniques that have fallen out of common use. The theory is just as important as the practice." She's holding a leather notebook, you notice, similar to the one Astrid was using in class. "It's brilliant," adds a Gryffindor boy with red hair and freckles who's practically vibrating with enthusiasm. "Best club in the castle, hands down. Where else are you going to get to practice against 6th and 7th years? Where else can you actually test yourself without some professor telling you you're being too aggressive or too creative with your spell work?" Marcus holds up a hand to stem the tide of commentary. "We operate with tacit permission," he continues. "Professor Rainwood knows we exist. She was a duelist herself, competed professionally for years before coming to teach. She understands what we're trying to do here, and as long as we keep things safe and don't give her a reason to shut us down officially, she lets us continue." "So why the secret letter?" you ask, finding your voice. "Why all the mystery?" Astrid takes over, her expression serious. "Because membership isn't automatic. You can't just show up and join. You're invited because someone sees potential in you, but you have to prove that potential is real. You have to earn your place here." She takes a step closer, and you notice the silver ring on her wand hand, catching the candlelight. "I watched you today," she says. "You have natural instinct, good timing, solid fundamentals, but instinct and fundamentals aren't enough in a real duel. I want to see how you handle pressure, how you adapt when faced with an opponent who's genuinely trying to beat you. Your heart rate picks up, understanding dawning. You want to duel me? 3 minutes, Astrid confirms. If you can last 3 minutes against me without yielding, you're in. You'll become a full member of the circle, with all the benefits and responsibilities that entails. A cold-looking Slytherin girl with dark hair and a sleek ponytail speaks up from the edge of the room, her voice sharp with something that might be amusement or might be malice. And if they can't, Astrid doesn't take her eyes off you. Then they go back to their dormitory. We never speak of this again, and there are no hard feelings. This isn't about humiliation or hazing. It's about making sure everyone here is committed and capable. Jasper shifts beside you, and when you glance at him, he whispers, "We can still leave. Just say the word and we're out of here." You look at Astrid, at her challenging stance and the certainty in her eyes. You look at the assembled students, at the mix of houses and years, all gathered here for a common purpose. You feel the weight of your wand in your hand, feel the echo of that perfect moment in defense against the dark arts class when everything came together exactly as it should. "I accept," you say, and your voice is steady, clear, carrying across the room with more confidence than you entirely feel. Astrid's expression shifts into something that might be approval, or might just be anticipation. "Good," she says simply. "Marcus, if you'd do the honors." Marcus steps forward, his voice taking on a more formal tone. "Right then, rules are simple but non-negotiable. No unforgivable curses, obviously. No spells meant to permanently harm or maim. Keep your magic at school-appropriate levels, strong enough to challenge, but not dangerous enough to cause real injury. The match ends when someone yields, when someone is disarmed, or when 3 minutes have passed, whichever comes first. Understood?" Both you and Astrid nod. "Take your positions," Marcus instructs. You move to one end of the cleared space, while Astrid takes the opposite end. The distance between you feels both vast and intimate. Close enough that you can see the confident set of her shoulders. Far enough that you'll have a fraction of a second to react to whatever she throws at you. The other students arrange themselves around the perimeter of the dueling area, creating a rough circle. You can see Jasper off to your left, his face pale but supportive, his hands gripping the edge of a desk so tightly his knuckles are white. The Ravenclaw girl with the silver blonde hair has produced a pocket watch, holding it ready. Other students are whispering to each other, and you catch fragments of their words, hear the sound of what might be friendly bets being placed on the outcome. Your heart is thundering in your chest now, adrenaline making everything sharp and bright and immediate. Your wand feels both familiar and foreign in your hand, an extension of your will, but also its own entity. A channel for magic that suddenly seems both powerful and inadequate. "Ready positions," Marcus says, and his voice has gone quiet, serious. "Bow to your opponent." You bow, a slight incline of your head and shoulders, and Astrid mirrors the gesture. It's traditional, a gesture of respect that goes back centuries, acknowledging that you're about to test each other in combat, but that there's honor in the engagement itself. "Wand's ready," Marcus says, his hand raised. You lift your wand, settling into a stance your cousin taught you, weight balanced, knees slightly bent, ready to move in any direction. Astrid's posture is perfect, economical, the stance of someone who has done this hundreds of times and knows exactly how every muscle needs to position itself for optimal response. "Begin!" The word has barely left Marcus's mouth when Astrid moves, her wand cutting through the air in a sharp, decisive motion. Stupefy! The stunning spell erupts from her wand in a brilliant flash of red light, moving faster than you expected, faster than anything you've encountered in class. Your body reacts on pure instinct, your wand swinging up. Protego! The shield materializes between you and the incoming spell, a shimmering barrier that catches the red light and deflects it harmlessly upward, where it dissipates against the ceiling in a shower of harmless sparks. But Astrid isn't waiting to see if her first spell connects. She's already moving, circling to her right, her wand already tracing the pattern for her next attack. Petrificus Totalis! The full body bind curse comes at you from a different angle, and you're forced to move, to break your stance and dodge to the left, while simultaneously maintaining your shield. You counter as you move, the words coming from muscle memory. Expelliarmus! Your disarming spell shoots toward where Astrid was, but she's already moved again, flowing around it with practiced ease, her movements economical and precise. She responds immediately, her voice calm and steady. Ricta Sempra! The tickling charm is non-harmful, but effective, the kind of spell that can break concentration and leave an opponent vulnerable. You roll to the side, feeling the spell pass close enough that the air tingles with its passage, and come up in a crouch. The watching students are reacting now, gasps and murmurs and encouragement blending into a background hum that you're barely aware of. Your entire focus has narrowed to Astrid, to reading her movements, to anticipating where the next spell will come from. She's testing you, you realize. Each spell is different, requiring a different defense, forcing you to adapt constantly. She's not trying to end this quickly. She's seeing what you can do, how you handle variety, how you respond under pressure. Locomotor Mortis! The leg locker curse comes at you low and fast, and this time you're not quick enough. The spell hits your legs and they snap together, locked as though bound by invisible ropes. You stumble, fighting for balance, your arms windmilling as gravity tries to claim you. Astrid presses the advantage immediately, her wand already moving. Expelliarmus! Something in you responds without thought, without conscious decision. Even as you're falling, even as your legs are locked and useless, magic surges through you in a wild, desperate wave. The shield erupts from somewhere deep inside, manifesting without a wand gesture, without words, pure will made manifest. The silvery barrier blooms around you just in time, catching the disarming spell and scattering it into harmless light. The room goes silent for a heartbeat. Even Astrid has frozen, her wand still raised, her eyes wide with surprise. Wandless magic isn't impossible, but it's rare, especially in someone your age, especially under pressure. Impressive, Astrid says, and there's genuine appreciation in her voice. But you don't have time to bask in the praise. You're still on the ground, legs still locked, vulnerable. You point your wand at your own legs, gasping out finite incantatem, and feel the curse release. Your legs are tingling and weak, but they're yours again. You roll, coming up to your feet in a fluid motion that's part training and part desperation. The Ravenclaw girl's voice cuts through the tension. 1 minute. Only a minute? It feels like you've been dueling for hours, like days have passed in the space of these rapid exchanges. Your breathing is already coming harder, adrenaline and exertion combining to make your heart race and your muscles burn. You need to shift from purely defensive to something more balanced, need to press back instead of just reacting. Astrid has resumed her assault, a steady barrage of spells that forces you to keep moving, keep blocking, keep defending. Stupefy, Incarcerus, Impedimenta. The spells come in rapid succession, and you're forced to get creative. A nearby chair becomes a makeshift shield as you transfigure it with a quick duro, hardening it to stone just in time for it to absorb a stunning spell. You use Scourgify to create a sudden spray of water from a dusty corner, the unexpected moisture disrupting Astrid's line of sight for just a moment. You levitate a cushion from one of the pushed-back desks, using it to intercept a binding spell that leaves the fabric wrapped in conjured ropes. You're starting to see patterns now, starting to read the subtle tells in Astrid's movements. She favors her right side, always stepping slightly to the left before launching her more powerful spells. It's a tiny thing, barely noticeable, but it's there, a fraction of a second of warning if you know to look for it. When she steps left again, you're ready. Before she can complete her spell, you strike first. Impedimenta! The impediment jinx catches her mid-step, and suddenly she's moving through something like thick honey, her movement slowed to half their normal speed. You press the advantage, not with aggression, but with strategy, moving to a better position while she's hindered. Flipendo! The knockback jinx hits her center mass, and even slowed as she is, the impact pushes her back several steps, breaking her stance. The crowd is cheering now, genuinely excited by the back and forth, by the fact that you're not just surviving, but actually creating opportunities. You can hear Jasper's voice among the others, higher and more frantic, but definitely encouraging. The Gryffindor boy with red hair is practically bouncing. Yes, that's brilliant. 2 minutes, the Ravenclaw girl announces, and something shifts in Astrid's expression. Whatever restraint she was maintaining disappears. She breaks through your impediment, jinx with a wordless burst of magic. A dispelling charm so powerful you can feel the wash of it from where you stand. Her wand becomes a blur of motion, and suddenly you're facing a level of magical assault you've never encountered before. The spells come faster than you can process them individually. Stupefy, Incarcerus, Expelliarmus, Torrentialegra, Immobilis. Each one requires a different defense, and you're forced into a purely reactive mode, your wand moving on instinct alone, your voice hoarse from constant incantations. Protego, Finite, Protego, Averte Statum. A binding spell catches your wand arm, conjured ropes wrapping around your wrist and yanking it to the side. An anti-jinx frees it, but costs you precious seconds. A stunning spell forces you to drop flat to the floor, and you feel the heat of it pass overhead, close enough to make your skin tingle with magical residue. You transfigure a section of the floor into something slippery, hoping to catch Astrid off guard, but she simply levitates over it, her expression intense and focused. She's breathing hard now too, you notice, sweat beading on her forehead, but her casting remains precise, controlled, devastatingly effective. A leg locker curse catches you again, and this time when you fall, you don't have time to counter it before the follow-up comes. Expelliarmus! Your wand vibrates in your hand, pulled by the disarming spell, but you hold on with desperate strength, pouring every ounce of will into maintaining your grip. The wand stays in your hand, but barely, your fingers aching from the force required to resist the spell. 30 seconds! Jasper's voice cuts through the chaos, high and strained, but audible. 30 seconds. You just need to last 30 more seconds. Your legs are still locked, your arm is throbbing where the ropes caught it, and you're fairly certain you're going to be covered in bruises tomorrow from the number of times you've hit the floor. But you're still in this. You haven't yielded. You haven't been disarmed. Astrid circles you, and there's something different in her expression now. Something that might be respect mixed with the competitive fire. "You're better than I expected," she says, her voice carrying despite her elevated breathing. "You're terrifying," you manage to respond, finally freeing your legs again and scrambling to your feet. Astrid grins, a flash of genuine pleasure that transforms her sharp features into something warmer. "Thank you." She launches her final assault, both of you moving simultaneously, your wands cutting through the air in synchronized motion, spells erupting from both ends at once. "Stupefy! Expelliarmus!" The spells collide midway between you, red light and scarlet light, meeting in a burst of magical energy that explodes outward in a shower of sparks. The force of the collision throws you both backward. You hit the floor hard, the breath knocked from your lungs, your wand still somehow clutched in your hand. Astrid lands more gracefully, but still off balance, dropping to one knee. "Time!" the Ravenclaw girl calls out, her voice ringing with finality. "Match concluded." For a moment, neither you nor Astrid moves. You're both on the ground, both breathing hard, both clearly spent from the intensity of the last 3 minutes. Then, despite everything, despite the exhaustion and the aching muscles, and the way your hand is trembling from holding your wand so tightly, you start to laugh. It bubbles up from somewhere deep inside, a release of tension and adrenaline, and sheer disbelief that you actually managed it, that you lasted the full 3 minutes against someone so clearly skilled. The laughter is breathless and slightly manic, but it's genuine, born of relief and exhilaration in equal measure. The room erupts in applause and cheers, the sound washing over you like a wave. Students are shouting encouragement, congratulations, offering commentary on particularly impressive moments from the duel. The noise is overwhelming after the focused intensity of the match, and you lie there for a moment longer, just breathing, just letting yourself feel the solid floor beneath you and the victory of survival. Marcus appears at your side, offering his hand with that warm, encouraging smile. "Outstanding," he says as he helps you to your feet. You lasted the full 3 minutes and gave Astrid a genuine challenge. That's more than most candidates manage on their first attempt. Your legs are shaky beneath you, muscles trembling with exhaustion, but you manage to stay upright. Astrid has risen as well, and she crosses the distance between you, her hand extended. You take it, feeling the firm grip of her handshake, the calluses on her palm that speak of extensive wand work. "You're in," Astrid says simply. "That was impressive. The wandless shield, the way you adapted when I changed tactics, how you spotted my tells and used them against me. Those are things you can't teach easily. Natural combat instinct combined with solid fundamentals. That's rare. I thought you were going to destroy me," you admit, still slightly breathless. "I tried," Astrid says, and there's humor in her voice now, the competitive intensity fading into something more collegial. "You adapted well. That's harder to develop than raw power. Power can be learned. Adaptability under pressure, that's something you either have or you don't. You have it." The other members of the circle are gathering around now, introducing themselves properly, offering congratulations and observations about the duel. The Gryffindor boy with red hair and freckles pumps your hand enthusiastically. "That wandless shield," he says, his eyes bright with excitement. "How did you do that? I've been trying to manage wandless magic for 2 years, and the best I can do is levitate a quill about 3 inches. His name is Rowan Brightmore, you learn, 5th year, and his enthusiasm is infectious. I'm decent at dueling, but nothing like what you just pulled off. That was new T-level work. Easy. The Ravenclaw girl with the silver blonde braid approaches more quietly, her notebook still in hand. Thea Silverwood, she introduces herself. 5th year. I keep detailed records of everyone's dueling styles, strengths, weaknesses, patterns. Would you mind if I showed you my notes from your match? There are a few things you might find useful. She opens the notebook to reveal pages covered in neat handwriting and detailed diagrams. You see your name at the top of the current page, and below it, a breakdown of every spell you cast, every defense you employed, complete with timestamps and tactical observations. It's simultaneously impressive and slightly unnerving to see yourself analyzed in such detail. You favor defensive magic, which makes sense given your performance in Defense Against the Dark Arts class, Thea says, her finger tracing down the page. But you're creative with environmental manipulation, the transfigured chair, the water spray, using levitation for interception rather than direct offense. That's good tactical thinking. You should develop that further. Most duelists rely too heavily on direct spell-to-spell combat and forget that the environment is a resource. Even the cold Slytherin girl approaches, though her expression remains carefully neutral. Cressida Vale, she says, by way of introduction. 6th year. That was acceptable work. For a 4th year. The words are grudging, but there's a flicker of something in her eyes that might be respect, buried under layers of competitive pride and house loyalty. Jasper finally breaks through the crowd, his face still pale, but his eyes shining with relief and pride. "Can we never do that again?" he says, but he's smiling even as he says it. "My heart can't take watching you nearly get cursed every 5 seconds for 3 straight minutes." "Are you kidding?" you respond, grinning despite your exhaustion. "That was incredible." "It was terrifying," Jasper corrects, but he's laughing now too. "But also, yes, admittedly incredible. When you did that wandless shield, I genuinely thought my heart was going to stop." Marcus calls for attention, his voice cutting through the excited chatter. The students gradually quiet, turning to face him as he stands in the center of the room once more. "Right then," he says, his tone warm but authoritative. "I think we can all agree that our newest candidate has more than proven themselves worthy of membership. Welcome to the circle." Another round of applause, shorter but no less genuine. You feel a warmth spreading through your chest, a sense of belonging that goes beyond simple acceptance. These students, despite being older, despite coming from all different houses and backgrounds, are welcoming you as an equal, as someone who has earned their place through demonstrated skill and courage. Marcus gestures for everyone to gather around, and the group arranges itself in a loose circle, some students sitting on the floor, others perching on desks or standing. The formation is informal but deliberate, creating a sense of equality and shared purpose. "The circle has a long history at Hogwarts," Marcus begins, his voice taking on the quality of a storyteller sharing beloved lore. "I found the original records about 2 years ago, buried in the restricted section of the library. There were journals, training manuals, detailed accounts of dueling techniques and philosophies that went back to the 1920s. He pauses, looking around at the assembled faces, making sure everyone is listening. "The original circle was founded by a group of 6th and 7th year students who felt that the standard defense against the dark arts curriculum wasn't preparing them adequately for the dangers they knew existed in the world. This was between the wars, remember, a time when dark wizards were beginning to organize, when it was becoming clear that conflict was inevitable. Thea picks up the narrative, her quiet voice nonetheless carrying clearly in the attentive silence. They weren't learning dark magic, she says, anticipating the question. They were learning to defend against it, to fight if necessary, to protect themselves and others. Advanced shield work, combat tactics, how to duel multiple opponents, how to maintain focus under extreme stress. Some of them went on to become aurors, Rowan adds, leaning forward with obvious enthusiasm for the story. Others fought in various conflicts over the following decades. There's even evidence that members of the Circle were involved in resistance movements during darker times, using the skills they developed here to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. The Circle was shut down in 1928, Marcus continues, his expression becoming more serious. The headmaster at the time felt that the organization was becoming too powerful, too organized. He worried it would be seen as a private army, that the students were learning skills that went beyond what the school should be teaching. So he disbanded it, confiscated the materials, and essentially erased it from official school history. But the records survived, Astrid says, her voice carrying that note of pride. Hidden, scattered, but preserved by members who believed the Circle was too important to let die completely. And when Marcus found those records, he realized that the need for skilled defensive practitioners hasn't disappeared. If anything, it's more important now than ever. Marcus nods, taking back the narrative thread. I'm not saying we're preparing for war, he clarifies quickly. We're not some militant organization training soldiers, but the principles the original Circle stood for, those still matter. Excellence in defensive magic, mutual support and teaching, being prepared for whatever challenges might come, learning from each other regardless of house or year or background. We meet twice a month, Thea explains, practical details returning to her voice. Usually on Friday nights, though we adjust for exam schedules and other conflicts. We practice dueling, obviously, but we also study theory, research historical techniques, sometimes bring in old texts or learn spells that aren't part of the standard curriculum. Sometimes we have tournaments, Rowan says, grinning widely. Bracket-style competitions where we all duel each other. It's brilliant. Last month's final was between Astrid and Cressida, and it lasted 7 minutes before Astrid won. 7 minutes of constant spell work. It was exhausting just watching. Cressida's expression tightened slightly at the mention of her loss, but she doesn't comment, merely examining her nails with studied indifference. Astrid addresses you directly, her dark eyes serious. Membership comes with responsibilities, she says. First and foremost, secrecy. The Circle stays secret for good reason. Not all professors would approve, despite Professor Rainwood's tacit permission. Some would see us as troublemakers or would-be dark wizards. Some students would misunderstand what we're doing here. We're not hiding because we're ashamed, Marcus clarifies. We're maintaining discretion because it allows us to operate without interference. As long as we're careful, as long as no one gets seriously hurt, as long as we don't draw negative attention, we can continue. Second responsibility is commitment, Astrid continues. You're expected to attend meetings when possible, to practice between sessions, to take this seriously. We're not playing at dueling. We're developing real skills that could genuinely matter someday. Third is mutual support, Thea adds. We help each other improve. share knowledge. If someone is struggling with a particular technique, we work with them until they master it. No one gets left behind, and no one hoards knowledge out of competitive spite. She glances at Cressida as she says this last part, and Cressida rolls her eyes but doesn't argue, suggesting this is an ongoing point of discussion. And finally, Marcus says, you represent the circle now. How you conduct yourself reflects on all of us. We expect you to maintain high standards in your regular classes, to avoid unnecessary conflicts with other students, to be someone worthy of the tradition you're now part of. The weight of these expectations settles over you, not oppressively, but meaningfully. This isn't just a casual club or a fun diversion. This is something real, something with history and purpose and genuine significance. You're being trusted with something valuable, something that others before you fought to preserve, and that the current members work hard to maintain. Do you accept these responsibilities? Astrid asks, her voice formal, ritualistic, suggesting these words have been spoken before to other new members. You don't hesitate. I do. Then welcome, truly, to the circle, Marcus says, and his smile is warm and genuine. You're one of us now. The group breaks up gradually, some members needing to return to their dormitories before the late hour makes navigation too risky, others lingering to talk or to practice a particular technique they've been working on. The atmosphere remains warm and welcoming, the earlier formality dissolving into easy camaraderie. Astrid pulls you aside as the crowd thins, her expression shifting from formal to something more personal. You have real talent, she says quietly, her voice pitched for your ears alone. Raw, yes, and you need refinement in several areas, but the foundation is solid, more than solid. That wandless shield wasn't a fluke, was it? You shake your head, remembering other times when your magic has manifested without conscious direction. Moments of stress or strong emotion when your will alone was enough. It happens sometimes, you admit. Usually when I'm scared or desperate. I can't control it, can't make it happen deliberately. That's normal for wandless magic at your age, Astrid says, but the fact that it happens at all, especially under pressure, that's significant. With training, you could develop conscious control. That would give you a significant advantage in dueling. An opponent can track your wand, anticipate your casting by watching your movements. Wandless magic removes those tells entirely. She pauses, seeming to consider her next words carefully. Listen, she says, her tone becoming more serious, more intense. You have something special. Don't waste it. Don't let self-doubt or fear or whatever holds people back, keep you from developing your full potential. You lasted 3 minutes against me tonight, and I wasn't going easy on you at the end. That means something. Thank you, you say, meaning it deeply. Coming from someone as skilled as Astrid, the praise carries real weight. But also, she continues, and now her voice takes on a note of warning. Understand that being good at dueling, being part of the circle, that puts a target on your back in some ways. Not everyone will appreciate your skills. Some will see you as a threat or a challenge. Some might try to test you outside these meetings, try to prove they're better, try to knock you down. You think of Cressida's cold assessment, of the way some students looked at you with calculation rather than welcome. I understand, you say. Good, Astrid says, her expression softening slightly. I'll see you at the next meeting and practice that shield charm. What you did tonight was impressive, but if you can learn to manifest it deliberately, with control, you'll be formidable. She turns to leave, then pauses and looks back. Oh, and one more thing. That combination you pulled off in Defense Against the Dark Arts class today, the Protego into Expelliarmus with perfect timing. That's actually an advanced dueling technique called the Defender's Riposte. It's taught at Auror training academies. The fact that you did it instinctively, without knowing what it was called or having formal instruction, that's remarkable. Look it up in the library. There are variations and applications that might interest you. Then she's gone, moving toward the door with that same economical grace she displayed during the duel, leaving you to process this information, this validation of something you'd done without understanding its significance. Jasper reappears at your elbow, looking simultaneously exhausted and exhilarated. "Ready to sneak back?" he asks. "It's nearly 1 in the morning, and if we get caught out of bed at this hour, detention will be the least of our worries." You nod, feeling the weight of tiredness settling into your bones now that the adrenaline is fading. Your muscles ache, your wand hand is sore, and there's a bruise forming on your hip from one of your falls. But beneath the physical discomfort, there's a deep sense of satisfaction, of having achieved something meaningful, of having proven yourself worthy of something important. Marcus sees you to the door, providing instructions for the next meeting, and reminding you that the password remains Fortis Animus until further notice. "We'll send word through the usual channels," he says. "Keep an eye out for messages. And again, excellent work tonight. You're going to be a real asset to the circle." The door shimmers closed behind you, disappearing back into the solid wall as though it never existed. The corridor beyond is dark and silent, the castle settled into its deep nighttime quiet. You and Jasper begin the long journey back to Gryffindor Tower, moving more confidently now than you did on the way there, though perhaps with less caution than you should maintain given the hour. "So, you're really going to keep doing this?" Jasper asks as you navigate through a narrow passage behind a tapestry. "The dueling club, I mean. This is going to be a regular thing now?" "Definitely," you say without hesitation. "You should join too. I know you said you're terrible at dueling, but Thea mentioned they need someone to research historical techniques, keep detailed records. That's exactly the kind of thing you're brilliant at." Jasper is quiet for a moment, considering. "I suppose I could contribute in that way," he says slowly. "I mean, someone needs to maintain proper documentation, and from what I saw of Thea's notebook, they take the research aspect seriously. It would be interesting to dig into the historical context, trace the evolution of dueling techniques through different eras. Plus," you add with a grin, "you'd be there to make sure I don't get cursed into next week." "There is that," Jasper agrees, smiling despite himself. Someone needs to be the voice of reason while you're off being recklessly brave. You have a near miss with Mrs. Norris, the caretaker's cat, her lamp-like eyes gleaming in the darkness as she prowls through a connecting corridor. You and Jasper freeze behind a suit of armor, holding your breath until she passes, her tail swishing with predatory purpose. Once she's safely out of sight, you both release quiet, slightly giddy giggles, the sound muffled against your hands, the relief of not being caught mixing with the general euphoria of the evening's events. The castle at night has a particular magic to it, you think, as you climb yet another staircase. The portraits are mostly asleep, snoring or murmuring in their dreams. Moonlight streams through high windows, painting everything in shades of silver and shadow. The stones themselves seem to breathe with centuries of accumulated magic, with the weight of all the students who have walked these halls before you, all the secrets and adventures and moments of transformation that these walls have witnessed. You're part of that now, part of the hidden history of Hogwarts, connected to a tradition that stretches back nearly a century. The thought makes you feel simultaneously small and significant, a single link in a long chain, but a link nonetheless, contributing to something larger than yourself. The fat lady is predictably grumpy when you finally reach Gryffindor Tower, her painted face creased with disapproval. "Do you know what time it is?" she demands, her voice pitched to carry her indignation without waking the entire castle. "Sorry," you whisper, trying for apologetic. "Couldn't sleep, went for a walk." "A likely story," she sniffs, but she swings forward when you give the password, revealing the entrance to the common room. In my day, students respected curfew, stayed in their beds like sensible people. But no, these days everyone's always wandering about at all hours, getting into who knows what sort of trouble. The common room is empty and dark, the fire reduced to glowing embers that cast barely enough light to see by. The familiar space feels different in the deep night, more intimate somehow, full of shadows and the sleeping presence of all your housemates above in their dormitories. You and Jasper pause at the bottom of the staircases that lead to the boys' and girls' dormitories respectively, neither quite ready to end the night, to return to normal sleep and the resumption of regular student life. "Hey Jasper," you say quietly. Thanks for coming with me tonight, for supporting this, even though it scared you, for being willing to join so I won't be doing this alone." Jasper adjusts his glasses, a gesture you recognize as him being embarrassed by sincere emotion. "Always," he says simply. "Even when you're being recklessly brave. Especially then, actually. Someone has to be there to document your adventures for posterity. Might as well be me." You smile, feeling a surge of affection for your friend, for his loyalty and his humor and his willingness to follow you into situations that terrify him simply because you're going. "Good night, Jasper. Good night. Try not to dream about dueling Astrid again. I suspect once was quite enough for your subconscious to process." You climb the spiral staircase to your dormitory, moving quietly to avoid waking your roommates. The familiar space welcomes you, your four-poster bed with its heavy curtains, your trunk at the foot of it, your school robes hanging on their peg. Everything exactly as you left it, and yet somehow you feel different, changed by the events of the evening in ways you're only beginning to understand. You change into your pajamas and slip between the cool sheets, feeling every ache and bruise from the duel making themselves known now that you're still and horizontal. Your wand rests on the bedside table, close enough to reach if needed, and you look at it for a long moment. This length of rowan wood and unicorn hair that has become such an extension of yourself. Outside your window, the grounds of Hogwarts stretch away in moonlit darkness, the forbidden forest a dark mass on the horizon, the lake gleaming like polished silver. Somewhere out there, other students are sleeping, dreaming their own dreams, living their own stories. And somewhere in the castle, in an abandoned classroom behind a tapestry of dancing trolls, the memory of tonight's duel still hangs in the air like smoke, like magic, like promise. You think about Astrid's words, about developing your potential, about not letting fear hold you back. You think about the wandless shield and wonder if you could learn to control it, to manifest that kind of magic deliberately instead of only in moments of desperation. You think about the defender's riposte and make a mental note to search for books about advanced dueling techniques in the library. But mostly, as sleep begins to pull you under, you think about the feeling of belonging, of being welcomed into something meaningful, of earning your place through demonstrated skill and courage. The circle. You're part of it now, connected to a tradition that values excellence and mutual support, that prepares its members for challenges that may or may not come, but that demand readiness regardless. Your last conscious thought before sleep claims you is of Astrid's grin, of Marcus's welcoming handshake, of Jasper's relieved laughter, of the weight of your wand in your hand, and the feeling of magic flowing through you like water finding its course. Tomorrow you'll wake to regular classes and homework and the mundane concerns of student life. But tonight, for these hours of darkness and dreaming, you carry with you the secret knowledge of who you're becoming, of the skills you're developing, of the path you've chosen to walk. The curtains around your bed ripple slightly in a breeze from somewhere, and the last thing you hear before sleep takes you completely is the soft hoot of your owl Copper from his perch across the room. A quiet sound of contentment that mirrors your own feeling perfectly. Sleep well, duelist. Tomorrow brings new challenges, new opportunities, new moments to prove yourself. But for now, rest. You've earned it.